Mr. Beast is now in Fortnite, and he has brought the biggest prize pool ever, letting us compete for $1 million. All you had to do was take part in the survival challenge, but something happened that outraged the fans. Turns out there could only be one winner. Unlike most Fortnite Cups where you get cash prizes, in the Mr. Beast challenge, you have to be first place or you get $0. The top 100,000 players will get an exclusive umbrella, but this means you could place second and get the same reward as someone who plays 20,000th. I mean, what? And that wasn't the only problem with the Mr. Beast collab, because some people have been frustrated over a massive issue in the item shop. When the cosmetics were revealed, we were all surprised by a second skin called Mr. Beast 6000, and it looked amazing, but Fortnite didn't put them in a bundle. Instead, we had to buy them separately, which a lot of people were upset about. Not as much as the most hated weapon of Chapter 4 that's been causing pro players to quit. Of course, I'm talking about the Excalibur rifle, which fires swords at people, and not only do they stick to you, but the damage is ridiculous. A single headshot takes you out in one blow, but I'll admit the weapon is still insanely fun to use, so all this needs is a little balancing. That's unlike the shockwave hammer, which is the most popular item of Chapter 4, but some would say it's too popular. Players are collecting as many as possible so they can spam them over and over again, and this is breaking the game, especially in the final circle. At this point, most matches end in a hammer duel, but I'm hoping the new Deku Mythic will spice up the meta. Now, something that My Hero Academia couldn't save was the most underwhelming event in Fortnite history, Fracture. This was supposed to be a grand finale to Chapter 3, with Epic teasing a huge battle between us and the Herald. There was even a secret villain called the Nothing, but in reality, the event should have been called that because nothing actually happened. Months of teases from the Loot Breaker project to the Paradigm secret weapon were all canceled at the last second, and the event was just 40 minutes of quests. But it's still not the most confusing way Fortnite deleted something. Last week, the rarest emotes in history were added back to the item shop. It was super random and people rushed to get their hands on them. It started with Tidy, which was originally removed in 2018 because of copyright issues with Snoop Dogg. It was pretty much confirmed that this would never come back until last week, but this is where things took a weird turn. Only an hour after Tidy was released, the item shop updated again, and it vanished without an explanation. Now, maybe Epic didn't mean to release the emote, except this was only the beginning of a puzzle. A day later, Rambunctious was revealed, yet another rare cosmetic, and just like the one before it, this was removed again an hour later. I mean, this was an emotional roller coaster, and people with the rare emote were annoyed that their items weren't OG anymore, while those who wanted them had to buy them immediately or missed out forever. Now, Chapter 4's first event has already started, with Winterfest giving out daily presents to celebrate the holidays, and while it's awesome to see them return, some players are a little confused by the theme. There are free skins in these presents, and they look interesting, but it gets more awkward because additional outfits are on the way, and they're Halloween themed. Not only is this month's crew pack skin a vampire hunter, but the item shop is going to add cosmetics like Graveheart and Kellaritas. I don't think a demon is very Christmassy. Even though you could choose not to buy them, I definitely understand the frustration around the removal of Fortnite's most useful mode. Battle Labs has been completely vaulted with Chapter 4, and it's to make way for Creative Royale, but this has caused way more problems than Epic expected. You now have to mess around with a ton of settings, and while it gives us more options, most people prefer how simple Battle Labs was. In fact, creative builders have been making their own versions of it to try and fill the void, but nothing compares to the real thing. Unless that thing is Scars, which have been completely changed since Epic brought them back in Chapter 4. On day 1, they were super popular and felt pretty strong, but over the past few weeks, people have been adapting to the new loot pool, and the Scar just can't keep up with its own bloom. Now, personally, I still love it, but I can't deny it needs a buff. The other weapons just feel way stronger, especially perks, which are the most overpowered item in the game right now. Forget about the Excalibur, because the community is overwhelmed with broken reality augments. Some of them are just ridiculous, like bush healing, which encourages everyone to camp, or party time that lets you combine unlimited balloons with a shockwave hammer for free wins. And it's been a while since we heard about a new Epic Games lawsuit. It feels like only yesterday that they were getting sued for every single emote. Now there's a huge class action lawsuit against Fortnite from parents in Canada, not because of copyright, but because they think the game is too addictive. They say it makes kids stop eating, sleeping, and showering because they want to play it 24/7, and for some reason, this is Epic's fault, and that's what the lawsuit is trying to prove. We're interested to see how it goes, but this might explain why Fortnite's latest update banned thousands of players. This season, they introduced cabined accounts, which ask you to add a date of birth if you want to keep playing the game. Anyone who's too young needs permission from their parents to continue, otherwise they are locked out of Fortnite forever. That means they won't be able to experience collabs like the Hulk, but even this simple crossover has a giant problem. I gotta say, it looks incredible, and the Hulk Smash emote is amazing, but people think it's missing one key feature. Most superhero skins like Tony Stark, Clark Kent, even She-Hulk allow you to transform between alter egos. But when it comes to Bruce Banner, he's nowhere to be found, and a lot of Marvel fans are desperate to see him in the game, so hopefully it happens in the future. Now, we probably won't be waiting as long as we did for the dial drop. It was leaked years before it eventually came out at the end of Chapter 3. It took so long for this to release, and Epic had been working on it for what felt like an eternity. And all of that effort was quickly thrown out of the window with the launch of Chapter 4, as it's nowhere to be found. Just like snipers, after months of experimenting with them and finally bringing back one-shot kills, Epic replaced them with bows. That's a pretty surprising decision, especially because the last time snipers were swapped out with bows, it didn't end well. Now, Chapter 4 is such an amazing season that it's impossible to ruin, but players who love snipers, they miss them a lot, and their return would make the game very interesting. Now, Epic isn't going to listen to every piece of feedback, and a lot of us don't agree with some of the things in this video, but there's one problem that needed to be addressed, and it caused thousands of players to get V-Bucks for free. Reboot Rally is back, and this time the rewards include a Wolverine Claws emote, but this was a huge mistake. People who already own this spent money on the Zero War comics, and now Epic is just gonna give it away for free? This caused an outrage, and they reassured that anyone who has the emote will get 500 V-Bucks as an apology. Something that isn't getting justice is the pump shotgun, which is nowhere to be found. This usually wouldn't be an issue, but the other versions aren't strong enough to be a worthy replacement. It's all because one-shot eliminations have been made impossible except for the Excalibur rifles, and a lot of people think re-adding the pump would fix this. But there's a fault with Chapter 4 that everybody agrees on, and it makes no sense. Fortnite has changed weekly challenges to disappear after 7 days. Before, you could stack them up and get a ton of XP that you missed out on. Now, if you don't do the challenges within a week, they are gone forever, which absolutely sucks. At least these challenges still last longer than Colombo, who was deleted from the files completely with Chapter 4. Ever since Fortnite wiped him out last year, the community has been begging to see his return, and we even had quests where they mentioned Colombo's hibernating. Well, it looks like it was one huge troll because he definitely isn't coming back anytime soon. And that's not the only time Epic has teased us with something and just changed their mind. Throughout 2022, Tim Sweeney told everyone that Creative 2.0 was releasing by the end of the year. Now, it looks like he gave a harsh deadline because it was pushed back until January, which is perfectly fine. But then it got pretty embarrassing when the Creative 2.0 livestream happened this week, claiming to show off new features. And there was only one problem: the stream didn't work and was full of technical difficulties. When it does release, it might be the solution to a big problem in Chapter 4. Even though My Hero Academia is now in the game, the community is still wanting more mythics, especially with all the crossovers in the game right now, like The Witcher, Mr. Beast, Doom. We might have to make them ourselves when Creative 2.0 releases. Luckily, it won't have to come to that with all of the items from the trailer. Every season, Epic shows off some wild features, and half of them don't even release until weeks later. Well, that's happened again, as we're waiting for the Guardian Shield, Recon Drone, and some people think Epic even teased first person, but I have my doubts. Now, I'll admit it was surprisingly hard to put this video together because Chapter 4 is insanely good, and there's almost nothing to complain about. Fortnite has smashed it out of the park, and we can't wait to see what's next, but like always, we do want to make sure the fans have their voice heard, even if we don't agree with some of the entries in this video. This has been Tommy, keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.